So don't sit here and act like us parents don't want to do these things for our kids. First of all, we don't understand what you're talking about. And then on top of that, we have things going on. And it's okay for parents to set boundaries and say, look, that don't work for me.
You need someone to confide in. Maybe you lost your mind. You've lost your sanity. 'Cause you're way too young.
Hello. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to talk to you about just my views on therapy and my role as a parent and as a professional in the pediatric therapy space, and the lessons that I've learned that could benefit both the parent and the professional. So if this is your first time watching one of my videos, hello, my name is Jessica T. Moore. I am an early intervention social worker. I am the founder and director of Atlanta Youth Services. And I am a parent of 3 extraordinary children with unique and exceptional needs. So I have been a exceptional needs mom for 10 years now. And in that journey, I have definitely learned a lot just when it comes to my daughter actually did early intervention when she was 2 years old. And I'll never forget when the school referred her for her first evaluation. And just the feelings that I had. First of all, I was like 20 years old, like between 20 and 21 years old. So I was really young. And I did not understand what was happening. And I know I get this a lot, like when I have parents who are coming in, especially like I have like a lot of young parents that I see that are my clients. And it's just like a whole new world. And I can just remember not having anybody there to be like, to kind of help me get through that journey. So it's just like I'm here, and all of a sudden I'm thinking everything is fine because what do I know? Like, this is my first time as a mom, and I'm not thinking anything of it. In the end, all of a sudden they're saying things like your child has a developmental delay or your child is going to need therapy and things like that. And the first thing that I did was just break down crying and just feel like, oh my goodness, like what did I do wrong, or where did I go wrong with my child? And one of the biggest reasons why I am a service coordinator now, or a early intervention social worker now, is to be that person that I didn't have when I needed them the most. Because like I said, I was lost. Like I had no idea what was going on. There was terms that were being used that I didn't necessarily understand it, and I didn't know what was happening. And so I can just remember just feeling confused, feeling a sense of guilt, not knowing like what the future would hold, and then not even understanding like what's going on with the different therapies. And I had like someone come into the house on a weekly basis to work with my daughter. They did not involve me in that process, so I didn't even really understand. Like, now as a social worker looking back, I'm like, oh, she was in the early intervention program. I didn't even understand what was happening. All I know is that somebody gave me a piece of paper and said, we about to run all these tests and we about to come to your house. And literally I was young and I was confused, and nobody was actually talking with me about what was going on with my child. And so now with empowered parenting, my goal is for you not to have to go through the same thing. Even going through that, like with my daughter, and going through IEPs and early intervention and speech therapy and all the things, when I had my son, something similar happened, but I still did not understand what was going on. And now at this time, this is like 8 years later, and my son was 2, and I did not have the resources to be able to help him in the way that now I see I could have. because I did not have the best pediatrician, even though I was going and I was telling the pediatrician, like, I'm seeing these signs. Now, this time with my daughter, I did not see the signs. With my son, I actually was saying, like, I'm seeing this. And the pediatrician just kept saying, like, oh, well, it could just be this, or he's just going through this phase, or whatever the case is, and just brushing it off. I had no idea that my pediatrician was supposed to refer me for early intervention. And we didn't get referred, and my son actually missed early intervention. And then I had a speech therapist that was talking to me about the MCHAT. Now I know this was the MCHAT assessment where he had scored whatever the score was that would lead to signs of needing early intervention. And it's just like, all of it was just like, my head was spinning. I didn't know like what to do. And so I just had to start like doing my own research, because even that therapist who gave me the MCHAT did not explain what it was. First of all, it's supposed to be done with a parent. So I don't even know how they did it without me as a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, my passion and drive behind empowered parenting is parents and professionals are all on the same team to help your child. And I don't feel like I got that. And so that's the reason why I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to become. And so like I said, with my son sitting in there, get the diagnosis, and it's just like, boom, here. I'm literally crying in the meeting. And it's like, okay, next. So that is just, as a parent, I felt like I didn't have anybody that understood me. I felt alone. I felt overlooked. I felt incompetent. I'm listening to y'all talking using acronyms, and I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea how this can affect my child. I want to help my child, but you're not helping me to help my child, because you got all the answers, or you are not, or we're just another number, and just you just trying to get to the next person, so you don't have the time to actually break down what's going on. And that is when, as I was sitting in my sorrows, and I was like, you know what, I'm taking full control by becoming an early intervention social worker, and I'm going to not only help my child, but help other families, so that none of us ever had to go through this again, right? So with that, that's how I became a professional in the field. And now I can relate to where my parents probably are now. And just being able to understand, like, as a professional, being in those meetings, hearing what's being said, and kind of even with professionals, like talking to them. I know we had a conversation where somebody mentioned, like, the mom doesn't seem like she wants this, or she doesn't seem involved enough, or whatever the case is. And it's like, wait a minute, because as parents, we didn't ask for this, right? We didn't ask to be doing no every single week. I got to do therapy, or they're giving you homework, and they're giving, all the stuff I got going on in my life. Like, that's what's going through my mind. So don't sit here and act like us parents don't want to do these things for our kids. First of all, we don't understand what you're talking about. And then on top of that, we have things going on, and it's okay for parents to set boundaries and say, look, that don't work for me. I can't commit to doing this worksheet every day, and I have to pay my bills, and I have to work, or whatever it is. So I just think that there is this gap between parents and professionals, that my goal is to bridge that gap, and to be able to have these discussions and be able to understand the perspective from both sides, and come together for the best interest of our babies. So with that being said, my take on therapy is that it is a collaborative effort. Therapy is 1 hour or 30 minutes a week. As parents, we're with the kids every day, all day. So we have to learn the strategies. We have to learn how to look at those goals and those outcomes and the progress and different things like that. Therapy is beneficial, but we are our children's first teachers. So that's my take. I don't believe in just dropping the kid off at the therapy session and having no idea what's going on. Talk with your therapist. What are y'all working on? What's the progress that's taking place? What can I be doing at home realistically that can help my child build communication or whatever the case is? Reduce behavior concerns, reduce sensory concerns. What small things that I can do to move the needle forward, right? And what I love the most is in-home therapy. In-home therapy really helps, I believe, is the best way to help the parent and the child just be able to navigate. And so that's my take is parents, we have to know we didn't ask for it, and I acknowledge that. We did not ask for it. We don't probably have the time for it, but we love our babies and we have to begin to build a community around us. It can be hard even talking about it. You might feel embarrassed because your child may be different from other children. But we have to come together as a community and be open and talking about how we feel. So with that being said, y'all know I said this year I really want to focus on you understanding the goal behind empowered parenting, because I don't feel like I really did that last year when I launched it. And so we're going back to the basics of what empowered parenting is, why it was created, who it's for, and where we going. I want us to be able to know we all getting on this plane, where we landing at, what's the destination, right? So empowered parenting is a community and a platform for parents that want to co-lead in their child's diagnosis or developmental delay. Who is it for? It is for parents of children under 5 years old who may have just suspected that their child has autism, may have a child with developmental delays, may have a child with behavior concerns, and they don't know what to do, but they want to take control of what's going on. I know for me, I felt out of control. I felt out of alignment. I felt unbalanced. I didn't know what was going on. And I'm just like, so many things being thrown at me, and I'm in so many meetings. People are asking me questions. It was a lot. It was a lot, y'all. So that is the goal of empowered parenting. And so with that being said, I want to just kind of get into, and I'm looking down because I definitely have notes because I don't want to miss anything. So what we're going to be doing this year is going through the Empower framework. Is a framework that I created for you to be able to stay focused on what the end goal is of what we're trying to accomplish with you and your child. So the first one, the Empower framework, is helping families bridge the gap between professional insight and everyday parenting. That is the overarching goal of the Empower framework. And if you are already one of my clients, then you already know this is some of the stuff that we work on, but I'm bringing it online. So the first one is E. The E in Empower stands for educate yourself. Learn the terms, the diagnosis, and service professionals. Hold on. Learn the terms, diagnosis, and services professionals use so you can understand your child's support system from the inside out. So with that, educating yourself, that's what we're doing right now. That's step one. My goal is to educate you so that you know and understand what's going on. Knowing that there is speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, ABA therapy, all these different types of therapies for your children. Also, depending on where you are, there may be special instruction as well. So, special instruction is done with the early interventionist, and it's focusing on basically the same thing, like bridging that gap and helping parents and giving parents the support they need. Because I know I get a lot of clients who are like, I want a real therapist. Special instruction is definitely real therapy, and I would recommend it for any parent that really wants to take control of your child's diagnosis. Then, of course, we have our speech therapy that's working on our communication skills. We have our occupational therapy. That's another one I know for me. I'm like, what is occupational therapy? I don't even know what that is. Occupational therapy helps with the sensory and behavior concerns a lot of times. Just like an overarching thing of what they are. Physical therapy is mobility, movement. Oh, occupational also helps with like fine motor skills as well. And y'all, I'm not none of these therapists. I'm just giving my opinion as a mom and as a professional of what these things are. And then ABA therapy is behavioral communication based therapy where you are replacing behaviors with the child. I just recently had one of my clients who was like, I don't know, I don't want to put my kid in ABA because I heard they abuse kids. I can't speak for every situation, but I do know that no matter where you go, that's the same reason why people don't put their kids in daycare. It's things, no matter where you go, things happen, and I'm not undermining that. But at the same time, this is what I told my parent that said this the other day. One, I would definitely recommend, if you want to decrease your learning curve, get these therapy services in home, right? So then that way you don't have to guess. When my son, I've had my son and my daughter as well, speech therapy and occupational therapy. And then also for my son, ABA therapy. I didn't like the clinic based services as a parent because I didn't know what was going on. But I really loved having somebody in the daycare because then now I got a person that's coming back and reporting to me what's actually going on, what I may not have otherwise known. And then I also have somebody in my home who I'm watching working with my child who's also, and I'm asking them questions like, hey, why did you do that? You can do that as a parent. Why did you do that? Why did you say this like that? Why did you, whatever the case is. And that's how you learn. So if you are uneasy about therapy, I would say start with in-home services. ABA is one of those services that you can get in-home. So that's the first one, is educate yourself. The next one is master the language. And we're going to start getting more into that as I grow this channel. I'm creating I have like different terms and stuff like that. And we're going to, everything I'm telling you, this is what we're doing right here. So this is not something you have to worry about. Like, we're going to make it happen. So mastering the language, speaking, learning to speak like a pro, whether it's IEP meetings, evaluations, reports, so that you walk into every conversation with confidence. So like I said, that's what we're going to do. Because I know, like, even for me, I do it too. I'm like, you want an ASD evaluation, or we got to get the IEP or the IFSP or OT, PT, SOP, all these terms. So what we're going to be doing is breaking down all of the terms so that I'm in the process of making a PDF download, but we're going to be breaking it down and talking about it. So you want to master language. The next thing is planning with purpose. So creating routines and strategies at home that align with your child's unique needs, not just what professionals recommend, but what actually works for the family. So, I mentioned that earlier. So planning routines. I know we use visual supports, and I'm actually going to be showing you some of the things like around my home that I use for my kids and stuff like that, so that you can get ideas on what to do. We're also going to do like product recommendations, and I do have an Amazon storefront where we're going to be looking at some of the things, right? And then next is own the journey. So that's the O, acknowledging your growth, your struggles, and your power. This path is yours to lead, and you're doing better than you think. So I put that for me, and I put that for you, because if you anything like me, I'm like, child, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what is happening, what I'm doing. And that's how I even feel like the school system is a totally different beast. And I'm still like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I have a support system of people that are helping me. The next one is W, is for working with professionals. We want to collaborate. Don't be going off on your therapist. Don't be going off on your social worker. I'm saying that from personal experience. We are collaborators, and you are a co-lead and a team captain of your child's life. So work with professionals. Like, hey, what are we doing? Like, when you come to the meeting, what are we doing so we can help our kid, right? I be telling my parents when I'm in a meeting, this our baby. I'm watching them grow up. I'm literally getting kids that are like a month old, and I'm working with them until they're 3 when they age out of my program. And it's like, these is our babies. So work with your professionals and come in with a co-leadership mindset. The next one is equipping your environment. So putting systems, visual supports, sensory supports, creating a safe and supportive and empowering home for your child's needs. And like I said, we're gonna be talking about that because that kind of go back to planning with a purpose. And then lastly is reflect and advocate, knowing your rights, trusting your gut, and leading with love because your voice matters. And when you speak with clarity and compassion, change happens. So I know for me personally, I'm getting involved. I was the president of the PTA at my daughter's school. I'm in every way possible getting involved and showing up to the meetings and just different things they're having so that I can be able to advocate for my child, reflecting on what's actually happening. Y'all, this file cabinet, bottom of the file cabinet, all my kids' information. Like, each kid has a slot with whatever medical history, diagnosis, all that. Advocate for your baby and walk with confidence. So that is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps to becoming an empowered parent. So just to reiterate, we have the E is for educate yourself. M, master the language. P, plan with purpose. O, own a journey. W, work with professionals. E, equip your environment. And R, reflect and advocate. So I'm excited, y'all, because like I said, we are bringing it back. We're taking a step back. We're not doing interviews right now. I will have more interviews later, but I want to really make myself clear on what is the purpose in even making the videos and doing the interviews and stuff like that so that we can make sure that you are empowered as a parent. So that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, this is the vision of where we're going. I can't wait to see where we are 6 months from now. Right now, I got like 2 videos, y'all. So I'm excited to see where we're going with this. And like I said, I'm really excited to like look back and be like, oh my goodness, like I got so many great things in store for you. And I'm just excited. So cheers to the journey, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Call me crying when